The evolution of the rover position here, how has that come for you? Where do you feel like you guys are with that?
Good. I think we've tried quite a few bodies out there. I think as spring has gone on, we've kind of gotten a feel for what each of them can do, what parts of the package we can run with each of them. And so I think we've got a pretty good pulse now on how we want that thing to play out and who will be there doing what.
And are you able to talk specifically about who's there?
No.
Okay, no, you're not
No. I mean, obviously, you guys have seen the names. You know, Asmar Bilal's playing there a good amount. Drew Tranquil's playing there a good amount. Robbie Regan has done some things there. You know, so those three predominantly have been the guys. You know, and then as we move into the fall, you know, maybe someone like Sean Crawford potentially gets involved in that conversation too in certain situations.
Maybe Jeremiah, or is that kind of too early?
Yeah. I don't like talking about the young guys because
Okay.
you know they'll have a learning curve when they get here for sure.
Mike, the other day, Coach Kelly mentioned that the base defense is in. I'm sure it's been in for quite some time. How far past that have you expanded?
Some, you know, maybe put a percentage on it. Maybe we've gotten close to 50% of all of it up and running. You know, we've spent a lot of time defending this offense this spring. You know, and so we're going to have to spend some time defending the offenses we play moving forward. You know, that's probably where a lot of the learning curve still has to come. But I think with where we are right now, if we were to defend the style of offense we're playing every day, I think we've got probably about 50, 60% of it.
And is that going into the spring? Did you have a percentage or an idea how much you wanted to get incorporated this
No. You know, like we talked about, you know, it was more about just developing that way that we want to play, developing the football the way we want it to look. And I think we knew we were going to have to spend time with that, and so that that was going to be the priority no matter what. So I'm happy with where we are. I guess would be the easier way to answer that question.
So what areas of the fundamentals do you feel that you can pinpoint and say, okay, we're definitely better in this aspect?
Yeah, we're disrupting the football better. We're leveraging the football better. We're playing harder. You know, I think those three things over the course of spring have gotten better, you know, for the most part every time we've gone out there.
Defensive linemen aren't leaving their feet?
What's that?
Defensive linemen aren't leaving their feet?
For the most part. For the most part.
Coach, on paper, this offense has a lot of potential, and I know you don't want the offense to look too good going against your defense every day in practice, but what have you seen from this offense? Does it have the potential that a lot of people think it does?
Yes, I hope. No, yeah. They're very talented. I mean, they got a lot of talented players over there. They got good O linemen. They got good tight ends. They got a quarterback who slings it all over the place. They got wideouts who can catch the ball. I probably couldn't tell you all their names at this point, but no, they're talented. But that doesn't have anything to do with us. You know, we're going to have to play talented offenses next fall, and we're not going to go through the season and not play talented people. So, you know, we've got to still do a better job of stopping them and doing the things we need to do.
Coach, what are you looking to see from your defense tomorrow?
Continuation of the last 13 practices. You know, to go out there and continue to run the defense and continue to work on the fundamentals and to continue to disrupt the football and play hard and, you know, try to start the concept of understanding that, you know, game day is not different. You know, if we're doing the things we're supposed to do in practice, game day is not going to be different.
This is also kind of the first time for the fans to really see, you know, the new look defense and everything. You know, what are some things that they can look for to see that this defense has improved?
Yeah, I think all of the things that we just said. You know, I hope they see a defense that's flying around. I hope they see a defense that's disrupting the football. I hope they see a defense that has their eyes in the right spot and is executing at a high level. You know, all those things that we're preaching aren't going to change tomorrow. You know, they're going to be the same things. It's not going to be different. It's not going to be different when we line up against Temple. It's going to be the same things every time we go out there.
Mike, it seems like you guys have a lot of different bodies and safety that you tried out this spring. What do you like about where you are now, and where do you guys still have to go with that position?
Yeah, it's a process, right? I think, again, it's all the same thing, right? Trying to figure out what they do well, trying to figure out how to best utilize their skill sets. I think we've done better with that as it's gone on. I think we've started to evolve the package to kind of fit who we're going to be playing back there predominantly. And so excited about that, and we've got to continue to develop and utilize the next 3 months and make sure we continue to get better.
Is Drew still sort of splitting his time between rover and safety, getting reps at both, or is he trying to settle in full-time elsewhere? Is it that different, I guess, in terms of rover reps and his safety reps in practice? Or?
Yeah, he'll still be doing both. He's in and out of both spots.
All those things that you just mentioned, disrupting the football, and just something as simple as, well, playing hard. What are just some indicating factors that you know that they're doing that better now, 13 practices in, compared to when you first got here?
Just video. I'm not trying to simplify it, but when you put the video on, we play harder today than we did the first practice. We disrupt the football more today than we did the first practice. That's the stuff we chart every day. That's the stuff we look at every day. And so, video evidence.
So what do you point to, when you guys are watching film? See, you did that there, but you weren't doing that there. What's an example of a play or something?
Trying to strip the football. Running as hard as you can, right? I don't mean to simplify your question, but they're not rocket science answers. Put on practice 1 and guys aren't running as hard as they can. Put on practice 13 and they are. So I'm not trying to simplify it, but it's as simple as that.
Sure. I think the last time we spoke also, you said that the defense just wasn't close to being where you wanted it to be. I mean, obviously there's a long way to go till September, but how would you evaluate? Are you guys where you would like to be right now, or is it still kind of pretty far off?
Yes and yes. Yes, happy with where we are right now. I think we've made progress. I think we've gotten better every day. Yes, we still have a lot of work to do.
Coach, in the practices that we've been allowed into, when we watch Dalen Hayes, he gets a lot of Mike McGlinchey, sometimes McGlinchey Nelson, sometimes McGlinchey Nelson and somebody else. How has he held up against that, in your opinion? Do you feel like that kind of experience has made him a better player this spring?
Yeah, I think all of our guys, right? And trying not to single out individual guys, but all of our guys benefit from playing against this group. Our offensive line is very talented. They're very physical. And so every day we go out there and play against those guys, you feel like you're going to have to do it right or you're going to struggle. And so Dalen, yes, but obviously everybody else too, I think, across the board. So.
In broadening that out, in terms of run defense and pass rush, do you feel like you're where you need to be on September 2nd? Do you feel like there's going to be improvement this year in those two areas? I know you weren't here last year, but
yeah.
you've seen the numbers.
Yeah, focus more on the first part of that question. No, because it's not September 2nd. This is a process that's going to take until September 2nd to be ready for that. And so, we are getting better. Every time we come out on the field, it looks better. We're playing more physical. We're fitting the run better. We're rushing the passer better. But no, we're not.
And is the reason why maybe incrementally it's going to take that long is because A, they're learning the scheme, B, they're just kind of being reprogrammed with the fundamentals? Is it a little bit of both there?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of it, right? It's developmental football, right? It's not. Again, this is the common theme when we get together and talk, but it's not. Here's where we were. Hire Mike Elko, and now we're here. It doesn't work like that. And so, if this is where we were in terms of rushing the quarterback and run defense, we've got to steadily climb. That's just development. That's the process of development. And so, there's not a switch that you flip that gets you to the top of the elevator. You got to climb the stairs.
Mike, how many or which guys on the interior defensive line do you feel that you could? I mean, they're good to go. You're going to be able to count on them in the fall.
I'm happy with our defensive line progress. I think, obviously there was a lot written about that group. I'm happy with the progress they've made this spring. I think Mike has done a good job developing them. I think they're buying into the way we want to play defense. I think there's probably 4 to 5 guys on the inside that are starting to get into a position where we feel comfortable that they can step in and help us.
And as a whole, I'm sure each individual is different, but what do you want to see them improve specifically?
Just our overall physicality, that we're going to be a group that recreates the line of scrimmage. That's where that's where your run disruption comes from, is your D line recreating the line of scrimmage. I think if at the beginning of spring it was clearly getting created on our side, I think it's gotten more even as spring has gone on. To where maybe last practice even we had a few more on their side. So
right. So how much of that is technique work, and how much is it in Matt Bayless's office over there?
Both play a huge role. I think Matt did what he did with them this offseason, which helped give us an opportunity to develop them fundamentally, to then turn them back over to Matt this summer, to then take them back from him in August camp and be further along. I think it's those two things always will go hand in hand with your line positions more than anyone, right? And so both sides of the ball, our fundamental teaching with Matt's training are always a great combination.
And at the other end position, Jay Hayes, your assessment of him this spring?
Again, not trying to. I hate doing the individual specifics. I don't mean to disregard those questions, but I'm happy with the group. I think across the board, the group is getting better.
He's going into his senior year.
Yeah.
He's a guy with a body of work. That's why I'm throwing his name out there.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you any.
Nope.
Coach,
I appreciate you trying.
I got you.
your cornerback group, at least from our untrained eyes, looks outstanding. It looks like you've got a bunch of them that can really play. Can you take advantage of that schematically to maybe use more of them because they're in a strong group?
Yeah, you can take advantage of any one skill set that is a plus skill set, right? And so, some of those kids have skill sets that we can utilize, and sometimes that'll be keeping 2 of them on the field and maybe putting more stress on them to overload other areas. Sometimes it may play 3 of them, sometimes maybe 4 of them. I don't know, but yeah, certainly anytime you have kids with plus skill sets, you want to try to utilize them.
Coach, is it helpful for you guys to kind of get to go against, Coach Long's up-tempo offense in a spring game, when the score doesn't really matter?
Yeah. I think in the modern world of college offense, the more your kids can get ready for tempo, the better. But we still see 12 uniquely different offenses, and so we're unfortunately only working on one. That's the nature of spring practice.
Coach, last year you had a lot of production from your linebacker core. I'm sure you're going to want to try to continue that with this current group. How would you assess their progress if they kind of evolved into your system, which is obviously more of a downhill aggressive deal for them?
Yeah, I think there's been a noticeable improvement in terms of this starting to look like the defense we want it to look like as spring has gone on. That has been at every level. It's been at linebacker. And I think linebacker probably maybe more than any other position, linebacker and safety, where, the scheme takes some time to get used to, right? How you see it, how you fit it, how you feel it. And so those guys have gotten better with that, which has then helped them play faster as the spring has gone on.
I noticed the last practice we read on Wednesday, they were a lot more disruptive on the other side than maybe we'd seen. Is that a byproduct of you getting more in, of them being more comfortable in it, or a little bit of both?
Probably more them. There's not a whole lot I can do. I just sit up in the box and call things. As they get comfortable in it, they play faster, and then that speed at which they play allows them to be disruptive and productive, and I think that's where, you know, in the beginning, it was hard to even judge, right? Because they're still trying to figure out where to go, what to do, and how to do it. As spring has gone on and they've gotten more comfortable with those questions, it's been easier for them to play faster.
There's a kind of a gap between, you know, you've got two veterans or three veterans really in Tavon, Greer, and Niles who play a lot of football, and then there's Jameer and Jonathan who haven't really played hardly any football, or in Jonathan's case, no football. How would you assess sort of the younger guys trying to, you know, obviously I would imagine you kind of want to get it to where, to like that. How would you assess the younger guys just as a group in their evolution?
Yeah, I think that's every position, right? That's college football nowadays. You know, you've got your, that's our job in developing kids, is you're always going to have a gap initially because, you know, some kids have played and some kids haven't. And if we got to continue to develop everyone in that room, because at some point the guys that have played are going to leave or get injured, and then the next guy's got to be ready to go. And so, you know, Jonathan, Jameer, all those young guys in that room have taken to that. I think they understand that they've got to be ready, and so I think they're developing well.
Mike, just sort of tackling fundamentals in the secondary, where are you with that? How much better can that group get in the summer when you don't have your hands on it?
Yeah, I think we'll continue. That is, you know, obviously you guys have been out at the beginning part of practices and seen a lot of that stuff because that's a huge emphasis for us. Anything you do a lot, you can get better at. And so I think at times we've gotten better, at times we haven't. I think a lot of tackling is fundamental body movement and footwork. And so even though we don't have them, Matt does, right? And his crew do. And so you can develop that stuff all summer long and continue to train those body movements that'll help get that better.
Is that close to where you want it to be, or is there a ways to go?
Everything's a ways to go.
Okay.
You know, again, it's not, yeah, you know, you build a house and the house is going to get done September 2nd, you know, and you can't move in before then. It's just not ready.
Mike, if you don't mind me indulging me on a question I'm sure you've been heard a lot when you first got here. When Coach Kelly's selling you on coming to Notre Dame, obviously you've got a lot to sell, but it's coming off a 4-8 season. What did you have to hear to make you think that this is the right place for me and this is a stable place in a really unstable business?
Yeah. I just had to hear Notre Dame, to be honest with you. You know, there's, and I said this when I got here, you know, if we were coming off of a 12-0 season in which we were competing for the national championship, there would be pressure on us at Notre Dame to be successful this year. That's Notre Dame, and I embrace that part of this. This is a very special place. This is a place where we can do a lot of special things, and I didn't need to hear a whole lot more than that, to be perfectly honest.
Is there anything you're particularly curious to see tomorrow? Just something that maybe hasn't gone right this spring that you want to see go right tomorrow, or
no? If we are as a group better than we were the last practice, then that will be good, right? That's what we're looking for, right? Because then we were able to do it in the environment of the spring game, in the environment of the stadium, in the environment of all those people. We were still able to stick to the process and move forward. That will be progress, and that will be exciting for me.
Cool. Like, I thought it was interesting. Okay. I thought it was interesting you said Sean Crawford for Rover. That caught me by surprise. Is that to try to make that position as well-rounded as possible, you know, bigger, physical, but also the ability to really defend the pass?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is dictated on who that guy's lined up on and what we're trying to do, right? We're going to see some really talented slot receivers if we're trying to match up and cover them well. You know, there's other names other than the big linebacker safety bodies to put at that position. And so Nick Coleman has done that some this spring. Ashton White has done that some this spring. When Sean gets healthy, he'll do that some this spring. You know, that is all encompassing in that position.